the singer Tank, he's an R&B legend now. He says Chris Brown is a better singer, writer, producer, and dancer than Michael Jackson. What are your thoughts on his statement?
I'm going to go third.
You're going to go third. Well, when we first, there was a big sigh from Tongo.
Because I'm thinking about it, and I kind of hear what he's talking about, but this is Michael Jackson we're talking about. Michael Jackson would produce a song and sing, mimic, mime, beatbox, whatever you want to call it, all the parts of the song to make the song come into existence. He'll then put it down to, all right, that needs to be a C, this needs to be played the guitar, this needs to be the keyboard, this needs to be the drum. Like, his production is different. It's not, all right, I go and speak to the guy that's a producer and I tell him to play a chord and yeah, I like that chord, or like, it's not the same. Now, I think, controversially, I do think Chris Brown is a better dancer than Michael Jackson. Maybe controversial, but the whole package, I wouldn't say that he's better than Michael Jackson. I'll just say, the closest I can say is that he's the modern day Michael Jackson.
I'm gonna jump onto that because I need to add a bit more context to what Tank said.
Okay.
So Tank said, vocal ability, Michael Jackson is lesser than Chris Brown. Writing ability, Michael Jackson is lesser than Chris Brown. Production ability, Michael Jackson is lesser than Chris Brown. Dancing ability, Michael Jackson is lesser than Chris Brown. And he goes on to say, I know you're going to say MJ's catalogue is crazy, songs are classic, etc. But that was because of a lot of great people involved who were some of the greatest at what they do. Chris Brown orchestrates his own movement from studio to visual to show. No handouts, no sponsors, and all the while the world was against him. I am ready to argue.
You see, the last part of his statement is flawed. All while the world is against him.
In terms of the
Rihanna stuff.
Because
Rihanna stuff.
you know what it is? If you look at it in terms of the...
before you even
Go
say
on.
anything,
Yeah.
while the world was against you, who was the first black person to get their thing on MTV? Was it not Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
The world was more against Michael Jackson on his come up, because he's also forgetting, obviously, Michael Jackson being with the Jackson 5 and being his whole come up was a lot more different than that. So that last statement kind of eats me.
I'll try and what I believe he was trying to get at was, because of the Chris Brown Rihanna situation, Chris Brown effectively for a period of time was blackballed.
And cancelled.
So cancelled, this is what I'm saying.
Oh.
Michael Jackson, although he had all the cases, never went through a period where he was cancelled.
Of course he was.
when he
Of
said,
course he was.
when he-
Brother.
No, hold on.
Remember, but it's cancelling different now to
Cancelled
then.
even worse.
What I'm trying to get at, so perception-wise, if Michael Jackson had a concert and had events, he never had the this is according to what Tank's saying, so don't go for me. I'm saying
I'm
what Tank's
saying to you that last line was a bit
Tank's
stupid.
Tank's saying that Chris Brown was cancelled because of the violence issues, whereas Michael Jackson
Was cancelled
even though
because of
he-
kiddie fiddling.
But the kiddie fiddling,
I mean-
according to the cases, I say the cases, was not proven, whereas Chris Brown's were. This is what Tank's argument and element is. So go on.
Again, it's so that last line flawed. I'll go back to your original point.
Go on.
All right, before I even go on that last line, because it's flawed. Controversially, yes, there is an argument to be made. I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying controversially, there's an argument to be made only because of the fact of it's the same way that from the era that we're born in and we're around in, we're going to sit there and say Michael Jackson. It's the era that we're born in. We've got his catalogue there. We know this song, that song, that song. So many songs have come off of him. Chris Brown himself will sit there and say to you, without Michael Jackson, there'll be no Chris Brown. Do you know what I mean? But then likewise, Michael Jackson might turn and say to you, without
James Brown?
all right, there'll be no Michael Jackson. And I'm sitting there like, right, James Brown would never be in this argument for me. But then you talk to somebody older than me, is saying, James Brown, are you crazy? And I'm like, I mean, it's got nothing on Michael. Do you know what I mean? So I could understand the argument of times are changing, innit? And the times are, James Brown was then it was Michael Jackson, then there's Chris Brown. When you're going to say about dancing, for example, so I'll go into some of the categories you've said, dancing's changed. Do you know what I mean? Michael revolutionized it, and it then got pushed on to the next level. Funny enough, he wasn't even the first person to do it. Again, it was James Brown that did it. Michael took it. Then afterwards, now Chris Brown's taking it to the next level. To say somebody's a better, it's all about times. Because I'm sure if we have Michael Jackson reincarnated, he will be better than Chris Brown. And then obviously Chris Brown reincarnated, he'll be better than the next Michael Jackson. It will just keep on going. Do
I
you know
don't know
what I
what
mean?
you said. Even if Michael Jackson was reincarnated, I still don't think he'd be a better dancer than Chris Brown, to be fair. I don't think he would cut it.
Like I said, I'm saying to you,
I don't know,
times, to do with the times, Steve-O, all right? It's the times that changes, isn't it? Times change a lot of things, and that's what the music's changed. So many different things have changed. So to turn and make that argument, I said there's a case for it, and I can see the argument because Chris Brown has done a mad thing with his catalogue where he's just done song after song after song after song after song, and there are a few hits. All right.
I'm laughing because all I can see is Citrus.
His hand movement is killing me.
You know what it is? The steam is coming out of his ears. I can see it already. Go on, buddy.
No, let him go.
Because before you even go on to that though, Sterling Reigns said Tank is on crack. MJ as a child was better than Chris Brown. Facts. Chris Brown is a better dancer. Agree. And he said it's like the Michael Jordan and LeBron argument.
It's not even close to that one. Michael
Citrus.
Jordan wins that.
This is it. Some of the things that are
So-
ridiculous comparisons.
So, this what I don't when I hear things like this, it's offensive.
Why?
It's offensive. How many instruments can Chris Brown play?
I'll be honest with you, I have no idea.
You have no idea, right? You're gonna Google it, yeah?
I'm going to Google it.
Okay,
Go on,
cool.
continue.
Okay. What dance did Chris Brown do that you can now say, right, go and do the Chris Brown dance? Give me one.
Because body popping is not his
Give
thing.
me one. Give me a Chris Brown dance.
Give you the moonwalk on Michael.
Bruv, you can do about 8 different, the crutch grab, the spin, the throw of the hat. You can do the Madeline, the kick.
the lean,
you could do, bruv.
there's
this
so
is-
many.
So
It's true.
give me one. And another thing, you're going to turn around and tell me Chris Brown is better based on what? So you're basing it on, if you're going to compare, as Buddy mentioned, so I'm not even going to jump on him, I ain't going to look at him, but you're going to be basing it on today's culture versus MJ's culture.
To answer
So-
your question, Chris Brown can play the piano, keyboards, and guitar.
and the
Did you
piano
know
and
that?
keyboard, the same thing.
Did you know that?
That's what it is. That's
But
what
did you know that?
I didn't know that. That's what
Do you
it's
know? Do you know why I didn't know that? Because he's not relevant. If it was that relevant, when you go to a Chris Brown concert, you'd see a piano or a guitar on the stage.
Like Jamie Foxx.
But
Do you get
sometimes
what
he
I
does
mean?
play a guitar and sing.
I couldn't
though,
care less.
with piano
I don't
and thing.
care. I don't care.
believe. I've seen.
I don't know him.
a
I don't
couple
know.
of things.
I don't know him for that. So choreography. Now I'm not going to turn around and once say one is better than the other,
But Thriller.
because both of them had choreographers. Do you get what I mean? Michael Jackson's choreographer was one of the backing dancers in Thriller, an Italian
Yes.
guy.
And Paul Abdul.
And Paula Abdul, but it's the
For
Italian.
example.
It's the Italian guy. Do you know what I mean? And he and Michael Jackson saw him on the video, the film Breakdance. Saw him in the background.
And took
I said, "You see that guy over there?
I want him.
That's the guy that needs to come and help us." So, if I'm going to turn around and say he's better than him, I'm going to have to both say to them, learn this routine and put your own twist on it. Do you get what I mean? So, when I hear things like that, I think it's nonsense. I think it's clicks. I think it's likes. I think it's us trying to go viral. Do you get what I mean? Nonsense. Once again, production. Production. Have you seen the Oprah Winfrey and Michael Jackson interview where he sits on the edge of the stage and then he's like, oh yeah, I can come up with a beat and just, I'm not even going to try and embarrass myself. But my man does the mad thing with his neck back and throat. And I was like, what? Now,
is what I was saying.
if I turn around and said, name me one of Chris Brown's albums, just name one. Don't think too
Fame.
hard. Don't think too hard. Don't
Chris
think too
Brown.
hard.
I think
Don't
go
think
with
too
Brown.
hard.
Yeah.
The best of Chris Brown. Okay. Do you know what I mean? Don't think too hard. If I said to you name, and obviously we're in different eras to those that are listening to popular culture now, but I can say to all of you lot, in fact, all of you name me a Michael Jackson album.
Thriller.
All right, buddies, happy. Tongues first. Rogi. Rogo. Go on, buddy.
Off the wall.
Thriller.
He said Thriller.
Oh, sorry, bad.
Straight away, we didn't even go too hard. All right, let's do the same thing with Chris Brown. Tongo.
Chris Brown.
the best,
Fame. I can say fame.
Wow.
It's fame.
Wow, fame. Man jumped onto my one.
So when I'm saying if you go like for like, it becomes very difficult. I think it's just a flawed argument. I just think.
But to be fair, what Citrus, what it is again, it's age groups, isn't it? Because if you chuck the younger generation in here and you say you had that
if
same
you turn
conversation,
around and said
bit harder.
and said 40 years ago Michael Jackson or Chuck Berry, do you know what I mean?
Do you know,
If I turn around and said to you,
say Luther. Even if you said Luther.
No, they're different
I know,
genres
but
of music.
I'm just trying to give it
So
scale.
But no, that is Chuck Berry in the 60s and 70s. You couldn't talk to him. So what I'm turning around saying to you, as soon as you then do that, then you're like, oh right, we're not comparing like for like. So it's like saying, oh, do you know what, buddy? You drive a really nice car. It's not as good as my roller skates. Do you get what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. And saying that my roller skates are great, it don't make sense.
Shouts out to Rain_Nelson_445 who would have been here. He said it sounds like a Sizzler versus Capleton argument.
It's not even close.
It's not even close.
Let's not do that.
Never close.
Never
Luckily,
close.
luckily, there's no full Jamaicans here today.
Shut up, you idiot.
Oh, sorry, I forgot.